Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the swapper. So in the last recording, there was a puzzle here that I couldn't figure out, and yeah, we'll just leave it and come back later. Although, in all fairness, even though there are these teleporters, it definitely feels like it would be extra work to even teleport to like this point. Walk here, get the orb, then teleport back to this point and back to wherever I was. Each of these rooms just do not interconnect with any of the other rooms. It's a very it's a decent layout. I'm not going to say it's awful for a Metroidvania, but it's very much different from what you would expect from Metroid or Super Metroid, in that there's a lot of hallway rooms where you'd go through it and then you'd have to come back. Noticeably, in Metroid games, there are also enemies, so there's kind of no gameplay mechanic that would benefit you to go back through a room. But it creates a very weird feeling structure because let's say you started here and this was like the entry place of the uh, space station. Then you'd have to run all the way to this point before you even hit your first teleporter to go somewhere else, as far as a long distance teleport machine. Or you'd have to use the floating maneuvering areas, which you don't even run into until way over here, and even at that you're still moving around for kind of no good reason. And if you're like going to the crew quarters, which are way over here, and then you sleep a night, and then your job is to be at the entrance and work there, you're walking or using these transports. At best, you would go from a crew quarters to here and hoping that this transporter would eventually cycle you to this point, and then you're still having to walk a massive amount of distance. Accident report log number 12. We're getting these logs in chronological order, so I wonder if it isn't possibly a case that you unlock the next one no matter which station you access, and it is simply just saying, well, this is a new memory log location you've never visited before, therefore we'll unlock the next bit of the story. That would work perfectly fine. So, casualties: Albert Petrovic and Diana Moss. Ranking crew member statement: Petrovic and Moss volunteered to take part in the first test engagement of the swapping core between individual crew members. The procedure was conducted safely. However, both crew members immediately reported extreme memory loss, meaning it is impossible to verify a swap actually took place or not. With a little more time, we believe we can correct for the memory loss and complete the experiment successfully. That would be an interesting twist if it turns out that the character we're playing as is in fact an amalgamation of the consciousness of all the rest of the crew. That as you just constantly are swapping in and out of different people's bodies, you're merging the consciousness together, creating some new, like, chimera like personality. Although, even at that, this experiment doesn't seem to be anything close to what we're doing now, because we're making clones of ourselves, it seems, not not swapping into the bodies of other people. We've never been allowed to be on screen close enough to another character to swap into them. Let's see. Commander's assessment: a complete ban on testing of the swapper device between individual crew members is to take effect immediately. I understand your safety record for use of this device between clone subjects remains untarnished. Consider yourselves fortunate that this avenue of research remains open to you. So, okay. They're basically telling you that they are not willing to swap between different bodies. Increasingly, the concern here is what do the colors really do? Because that's the thing I still don't feel like I've understood. Seems like standing in blue, I can create a clone and shoot in the blue. And then there's a wall stopping me from shooting there. And something's seemingly preventing me from shooting anything, making another clone. Probably because I have the maximum number of clones already. So let's get some clones back. Because I have this other one that's down here. Okay. So once again, this feels like this is one of those situations where the only way you can move is to the left. At least until you get in here. Let's just run this guy that way. So now we've got the body ready. How many bodies do we have on the screen? I think I may have either made 2 copies down here when I needed only 1. There's not even a light here, so it seems like you just would have to leave the room to reset things. Interesting. Seems almost like the game is intentionally getting more difficult or less resettable. Okay. I'm just gonna walk out and walk back in, I guess. Drop a guy there. Jump over to save a spot. Drop a guy there. if there was somebody standing here at this point, excuse me. Okay. This may not be as difficult as it seems, but it may be that difficult because, like, we are out of people, and so it seems to me like what you have to do is probably just reset this and then toss a couple of these people this way so that they would potentially merge together. So you want to get this as far to the left as possible so that you can have them all standing on top of each other. So you can do that, so then you have two people to use. And there we go. It is weird to not have any reset light there in that puzzle. In a lot of ways, I guess the reset light probably is just a crutch. It's unnecessary. That was Xeno research, and then you have a light resetting here. And then sample containment and metaphysics this way. So we'll go this direction. I honestly would have expected more. See, we need 24 to get to this area, which we already have 31. Like, I would have expected a little bit more dialogue at this point. Remember at the beginning of the game there was a
non-human organics purged.
There was this quarantine that we shut down, and very possibly the quarantine was supposed to be the thing that should have potentially stopped us. Okay, before we just assume that teleporter takes us to another. Oops. Just it's not worth it to save on swaps. Airlock, metaphysics. Summon an elevator. And then we have more plants. So maybe we're supposed to have gone to the airlock and seen that it was inaccessible. See, I'm not really sure which way I'm supposed to go, but it does seem like what's going to happen now. is that we are going to go through this airlock. And then that's going right through this empty space section. Which, whatever, we're gonna have to go back anyways. And so now we're outside of the spaceship. So we now know that this square section here is literally a part of the space station that's not connected. I'm just gonna try and gain a fairly large amount of momentum, and then apparently immediately realize that is a mistake. See, if time was to slow down, like, you could possibly get through all of this and then shoot a swapper through it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like, though, you could really get a shot through it. Even the shots are too slow. Like, I shoot a shot, and I'm way over here. That's just like as far as you possibly could shoot a body. And it's interesting, gravity seems to affect the other bodies, because that one fell straight to the ground. I can't help but this once again really feeling like it's dark for moody visual reasons instead of practical video game reasons. There's really nothing here. It seems like this is potentially just the programmers experimenting with what they could program more than anything else. And you'd go through a sequence like this once, and then almost certainly there's a teleporter on the other side of an airlock, and that's, yep, that's the way you would go going forward. So you could just fast travel from that point to that point. Which, since we did that, let's be a little ADD and let's go and see what this teleporter does.
Attention. Access to metaphysics via sample containment is restricted to qualified empiricists.
Interesting. So we're now in a metaphysics area, which honestly seems like it is just going to be a puzzle. Some of the minds that probed us believed only in the physical world, some believed in something more. They never ceased arguing. Okay. And I guess the question is, do these little nubs on the teleporter indicate the direction you will go? Apparently not. More likely it's the position they're in. Yeah, I guess they have little antennas on nubs on both sides. Undoubtedly, some of these rocks had to have been destroyed. I don't know if that actually would have killed the Watchers in any way. It's questionable why the Watchers are even connected to the rocks in the first place. I've been changed as if the other minds like yours had a will that could cut through my own. Yep. So it definitely seems like it just wants you to teleport through every teleporter just out of out of just consistency or completionist sake. And looks like there might just be a whole grid here. That certainly is something I have not liked in games that are inspired by Metroid games, is the potential situation where you have just a very large grid. Okay, this is something different, and honestly this feels more like a temple than a space station. Let's see, log 14 memo. Some watcher specimens are millions of years old, so it's fair to assume that the high level of intellectual development, I don't know why you would assume that. If they are telepathic as well, I think Charai 5's indigenous species may be the universe's oldest, most powerful quantum computers, if only we knew the programming language. It seems like there's almost a religious worship of trees on the space station. And then you have like a rock face on a sofa, which seems out of place. This is just putting us everywhere. And we have yet another teleport. The other minds here were always turning. They thought of the world a little as we do. It does seem like you're just constantly going to be asked to move around. So we're back to the red fog puzzle. Alright, if you have something there, can we shoot anything else anywhere? I mean, you can get unless you're standing specifically maybe in this light, or standing specifically here. Again, you don't have a reset light here, so if we were here, let's reset that. That music is getting weird. I want to move these characters as far this direction as I can. Then I want to stand in this light and swap. Move these characters as far as I possibly can. And I have like one more body I can make. Okay. So start by putting a body here, then walking this distance. That's roughly where we needed to be. Put another body there, swap to it, put another body this way, and I need to just somehow try to get the angle perfect. And it really doesn't give you enough room for a perfect angle. Right. You don't have to be particularly perfect with this guy. Just have to get that far. Then that far. Arguably not even that far, but whatever. And then I think I just need the swapper gun to slightly point out, and this might be a point where the resolutions being at 1080p kind of breaks this game. They obviously weren't thinking from that perspective that you would play it at a relatively high resolution, although 1080p is hardly considered relatively high by modern standards. But even in 2013, 1080p should have been something they would have considered. Like, we have almost the complete solution. It's just a slight matter of how do I get one body back so that I could stand where this light is, potentially, and make that extra copy. You know what I could do? I could do that. Okay. Let's see what happens if I do that first. Then came back. And made another copy, I guess, here. And then made this copy. So play it slightly out of order. Now I have no bodies. Is there possibly a trick here where you push them both forward like this? Yeah, you can't do anything in the purple fog. Hmm. Hmm. Maybe there's something here to recovering a body and then swapping here and then standing just on the ledge here, so then we could move the guys backwards. Okay, we're now one short though, so being up here does seem like it would be helpful. So you go that far. Yeah, I'm definitely not liking this crackly fireplace effect. And you go that far. Are we gaining even like a small amount of inches for as much as we're walking backwards and forwards? Yeah. Definitely feels like there's a real danger here of just running into a lot of puzzles that don't quite make sense. Yeah. And yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to solve all these puzzles because there's obviously a strategy here that I'm not quite understanding. It feels like this guy up here is probably extra, and then you would want to be at this spot doing that. And then the other guy is probably extra. Maybe that's how you pull this off, is that you move one to fall down. I don't think so, though. It possibly is this, though, come to think of it. If you put a person there, and then you backed into this, and then you put another person here, and you move forward into this, we would just need to now and I'm trying to make 40-minute episodes here, and now twice we've run into a puzzle that I'm not wrapping my head around. Let's see what one of these other puzzles might do. We're getting a lot of dialogue, and that's about the only progress we're making. Log 13, Watcher Metaphysics. What do Watchers know about the weather? With no physical senses with which to perceive the world, we have to ask what constitutes knowledge for a Watcher. How do they conceptualize death? What do they know about the physical world? Watchers must have some conception of the natural physical forces which cause them to move in and out of one's detection range. Such forces may be inexplicable for them, but then the human race has had great success in understanding physical world beyond its gazes. The Watchers have likely thousands theorized, and they have had rather more time than us to get things right. Well, that makes an assumption there that even in an infinite amount of time, you would get the correct answer to a question. Right. That seems like that's a really simple puzzle element. And then that kills us. I think perhaps that was the point there, is to give a simple reassertion of height so that you would then not make a mistake and jump to your death. Although I still did. Okay. The problem here is we've got like 2 extra corpses. And a blue there. So how can I get those 2 other extra corpses eliminated? It really does give off the feeling that very possibly the game does not want you to be able to solve it with the number of characters we have, and we need to expand the number of swaps. Like 1 more ability or 1 more clone would solve this more than anything, I guess. Yeah, because if I could take this guy and then put him here and swap to him, still doesn't help you. You still need 1 more clone. And you need that blue light missing more than you need anything else missing. I think I'm learning that I'm making the right decision by giving up. Either that or the game is just wearing me down. Again, there's just no reset lights in half of these. I wonder if this is also very possibly just a case of there being impossible puzzles. Let's see, red light, blue light, wall here. Let's just jump down here and see what happens. You fall to your death. You can't get up there. So I put something here. And then we drag 2 things this way. Okay. Then I guess we let those go. And so I need to be the character who's in control, which that does that, and then that solves that just fine. It's very weird how easy that was. I also find it still very weird just how dark these rooms get. Okay, well, if anything is going to really work here, I think the plan is almost certainly to be very flippant around these puzzles. And let's go see where the rest of these teleporters end up taking us. There's this plant element too that feels like it would be something. Although the way for the thought of the passage of the day is the day for the thought of the passage of the way. And apparently just standing over that makes it incredibly dark as far as standing around. So I don't even know why you would have all these rocks in these places. T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know you're ABC. Won't you come and release me? A, B, C, D. Well, that's a kind of creepy sentence. And it looks slightly different in the background there. So it seems to me like the teleporters that go back don't require you to use them. It's just teleporters that go to new rooms you haven't visited yet. So whatever's in the middle here. So it's basically nothing. Everything points downward towards this area. But there's a teleport machine that takes you to this puzzle that we couldn't do, and the teleport machine that takes you to this puzzle, and we've got another one of those. So the thing to do here would be to just head downward back to the teleporter. And seemingly we will just never interact with that grid again. Doesn't seem like there was anything there. If anything, it very possibly was supposed to imply that this is where they experimented with the teleporter technology, but it kind of feels like that this society has had the teleporter technology for a long time. And then there's still this element also that seems like we just missed, and even to get to that point would be kind of a hassle. It's going to heavily depend on whether or not I even care about getting all the orbs, as to whether or not I decide to run around the entire map looking for things. Now, noticeably, there still really isn't that much room left. We're at least halfway through the map. So, knowing that, we might go out into space over here too, I guess, if this is outer space airlock. Knowing that we're halfway through the map, there may be only somewhere around 60 to 100 orbs in the first place. And yeah, if they give us something new to do, to look at. Let's see, does that say 30 or does that say 36 or 38? If it says 30, we're ready to unlock this obstacle. If it says 38, then we definitely would have to go back and get all of these. In fairness, that would also point out that there's like a memory terminal we just totally missed. If we need 36, then there would only be one, maybe two orbs that we've missed and that we could miss. So let's see what this says. Transit order watcher sample 01. Specimen profile. The head watcher is a vast watcher specimen, the first to be discovered on Core I-5. It exhibits far more active neurological activity than the rest, seemingly to function as a kind of group communications hub. The sample is being relocated to the Mind Science Laboratory, Sector 2, for extended observation following red flagged radiological activity. Transit order weight 112 tons. Transit limitations due to extreme weight and dimensionals. Sample is unfit for teleport. Transit method 0G station exterior. Sample to be towed with guide ropes. Transit route research. Sample containment airlock. Station exterior airlock gravity control. And then mind science laboratory. I guess maybe if we turned off gravity control in the whole map, that might
You made it. Good
do it.
show, but we're running out of time. Dennett and I, we underestimated the Watchers. We have to stop them. Looks like gravity control's inactive. Get it online and come help me here.
Okay. Dennett is now a new named character, and probably our first named character outside of the Watchers. And they are actively saying that the Watchers are bad, I guess. And then all this little fizzling that's happening here doesn't seem to matter. I guess these are gravity elements. And so now you potentially have locked yourself off from one area. So they're gonna invert the controls on you as you're upside down. Okay, so that must have been 30 orbs. So we had 4 extra. And is this supposed to be the head watcher? The watcher cannot be into the watchers always is. There's only disconnection from the chain. Alright. And so it seems like we're just going to be upside down. And this is very much a Castlevania trope in which you turn the entire castle upside down, and then that lets the game developers reuse the art assets twice. What is destruction? Is it like being changed? Yeah. Well, I thought it was going to have us stay upside down for the rest of the game. Wish that would have been weird. Sadly, though, this is not giving us quite what I would like as far as another swapper character, which would make a lot of things easier. We're up to Watcher log number 22, we're up to log number 15, and we've only found that one secret message, and I assume there's 2 more somewhere, but I honestly couldn't tell you where. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some kind of secret message in space here, but I don't know what the strategy would be to get it. Maybe if you look here, there would be a safe spot over here in the airlock to consider looking through. There might be a way to get into space through this area, although I don't know how. We're increasingly running into puzzles we haven't solved, and then we have this unexplored hatch, which apparently has changed because now we have a mysterious rock sample here and an unexplored hatch, and the barrier is missing. So something changed once we reactivated the gravity elements, which I guess means any point in this game could have changed a little bit. I almost would want the game to let you turn the power on and turn the lights on, and then you would just walk around the entire facility in a more brightly lit environment. It definitely was smarter, in my opinion, that Metroid is this like bright, cartoony, colorful game instead of being dark like this game is. Like this is a game that definitely would fall under the category of being too dark. And very often I'll see games listed on Steam, and even the screenshots that you're hand creating and picking are 90% blackness, and you just can't see anything at all because they don't have anything to show, or they just didn't put any care into making the screenshots. And I call that dark screenshot syndrome, and then immediately dismiss those games as not being worth playing. I suppose we should check to see if there would have been a way to adjust this. Nope. Of all the visual settings here, there is no visual setting here for gamma or brightness or contrast. We could turn off depth of field, which we probably don't want to do that, or turn off bloom and light shafts, which you probably don't want to do that. But yeah, nothing to make things brighter. You just have to turn up your monitor. If things were bright, and it would allow for things to stand out that are important too, particularly the red and blue colors, if they were contrasted with more of a white background instead of being blended in as a fog to the black background. Noticeably, when you look here, here's some unimportant wiring, almost certainly, that is colorful, and it just stands completely out compared to everything else we've seen so far. It just is totally out of place. Maybe the bone-like calcified look of these elevators and some of this stuff is from the rocks, that the rocks have the ability to maybe petrify or calcify the ship, and that's the way they're attacking the ship. That would be about the only thing I could think, is that it would potentially act like a mold or a virus, unless it's just mentally attacking the people, which it might be doing that too, if the Watchers really are even the bad guys. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. In the description, there's a bunch of links to social media sites. There's also a link to Patreon, or you could friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list if you want to support me further. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.